Hey there, my name's Catherine and this is my legacy. I was born on June the 3rd, 1930 in Gazaway, Tennessee, Cannon County. It was a real little bitty house, I guess one room and a kitchen, and it was still sitting there till about 40 years ago. I think the first thing I remember is when Willa Horse was born. I was 2 years and 16 days old. Yeah, he was born up in my grandmother's house upstairs, and I remember going up the stairs to see him. And the next thing I can remember is going from Short Mountain up on the mountain to see my great-grandparents in a wagon. And they lived in a real small log cabin, and the kitchen floor was the ground. And I kept thinking, my great-grandmother was sweeping the floor, and I thought, well, why is she sweeping the floor? It's dirt anyway. I would like to say, where are my family? Oh, I was baptized when I was 12 years old, which was maybe 1942, and I was baptized in the Stones River up on Rock House, and Brother Charlie Powell baptized me. Pleasant Ridge Church of Christ. Oh, I had a lot of fun childhood memories. Some of them was spending the week with my grandmother. She died when I was 7, and I'll never forget what we used to do. She baby dressed us, and we walked out up the creek, picked up pebbles and wildflowers. And my other grandparents, we were always going to their houses, having birthday dinners and all that kind of thing. Oh, I've got all kinds of memories of them. Willa Horse was like glued to me when we were little. We were 2 peas in a pod. Then he was just my buddy until he was grown and married, really. And Franklin, he put a little pressure on you. He was deaf and he wondered what people were saying about him and things like that. But he was just my heart. I wouldn't. The others did things I'd get all over him and spank their butt, but I didn't ever spank him. And he wouldn't. Mother couldn't spank him either because she couldn't catch him. He died till Mother got home, until Daddy got home, and then he'd come out. But he wasn't home all then growing up, but in the summertime when he come home from school, he would come. lived in Nashville. He'd come to Nashville and spend all summer just about. Oh, I don't know that we did anything as when they were small individuals. They both were, well, they were just good little girls, really. And Diane was more like stay in the house and hang around after me. Darlene liked to be outside playing, but they were both just sweet as they could be, and I loved them to death. And it made me happy. That's all I wanted to be, was a mother, and it made me happy. And when Diane was born, I was not nervous about taking care of her, but she was born one night, and we brought her home the next morning. I went over the next day about 12 o'clock, and I was so tired and wore out. She went to sleep, and I lay down on the bed beside the bassinet, went to sleep, and when I woke up, it was dark. It scared me to death. I thought, but she was still asleep. And Darlene, she was a climber, and she scared me to death when she'd climb out of her crib and come get in bed with me. She wasn't even walking good. And one day I watched her see how, and she was just she was pulling herself up and going over that rail and sliding down, hanging on to the side and sliding down. So I just left the side down from then on. Oh, as teenagers, they were good girls. Actually, really good. Diane was more stay at home and inside still. She was right under my feet everywhere we went. And Darlene was more of like get out and over the neighborhood and like talking to everybody like she does now. She was doing all the in school. She was wanted to do everything there was to do. She was a cheerleader and she went after track and she wanted to get a job part-time, and she did all that. Well, when Darlene was always wanting to make money, when she probably was about 12 years old, she'd go next door and ask John if she could cut his yard, and he'd give her a couple of dollars to cut his yard. And her and Gloria was good friends. She got in trouble a time or two about going out of Gloria's when she wasn't supposed to. One day I called her when I was coming home from work. She was coming up the hill, and she didn't meet me home that time. Oh, it was exciting. I mean, I wasn't there when Chris was born, but I was there when Jennifer and Carmen were born, and it's really exciting to be there. When I got there, Chris was like, well, he was born, I think, on Thursday, and I got there on Monday, late in the afternoon, and he was yelling to the top of his lungs. I asked the nurse, is he okay? She said, yeah, don't you hear him? And Jennifer, that was the first time I'd been at when I was being born, and she was just the cutest thing. I was standing there and look at her, and I think she just amazing. Carmen came along. She was cute as she could be, sweetest, quietest. And she wasn't feisty like Jennifer was. She was quieter. Oh, I don't know. There's been a lot of scary things. I'm not really a real scary person, but one of the nightmares I had was when my daddy had heart surgery, and when he was going off of the drugs, they called me at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I had a stroke. And I got up, Mother was here, and I got in the car, and it was frost on the windshield, and I was driving and couldn't see, and got to the hospital, and couldn't get in. And I was running around the building trying to find a way to get in. I was headed back to the emergency entrance, and I went by a waiting room, and there was people inside, and I was banging on the door, and they let me in. And I got up there, and he had not had a stroke. He was just hallucinating because of the medicine. But I was scared to death. But I've been scared to death a lot of times when something happened to somebody in the family. Like I've met Mother at the emergency room and met Gerald at the emergency room. And it's just been a lot of things like that. I think those things, there's been other times I'm sure that I was scared, but as far as being afraid, just when I was growing up, I wasn't afraid. Well, I think I got compassion from Daddy. He was compassionate, more affectionate than my mother. My mother was hardcore. You did what Mother said or else. But I got a lot. She taught me a lot. She taught me how to be a hard worker and take care of the family and she also taught me some things that she did that I don't do now. Like she used to be jealous if you went up there and you didn't. And why didn't you come to see me? And why did you leave here and go see somebody else? But she taught me she taught me how to work work in the yard, work in the garden, cook, and she worked hard, and she taught us to work hard. Well, now I can't really tell you. I don't know. I just never was scared. But as far as worrying, the way I handle when I get worried, I just get up and do something, and get busy, and then not sit around and think about it. Because like when somebody would have, I'd be worried about somebody, and I'd be sitting here thinking, well, I hope they're all right. Did they get where they're going and all that kind of stuff? Then I'd just really get upset. So I would just get up, do some kind of project, get busy. I don't like smells, period. Fresh outside, I like that, but other than, I don't like any kind of odor, perfumes and things. Well, I like to smell foods cooking, but I'm not especially, yeah, coffee smells good. Yes, I went on an awkward date, but nothing happened except I just didn't feel comfortable all the time. It wasn't a real date. We were out riding around one afternoon. It was another couple, and that was the only time I ever went anywhere with him. It's not that I didn't like him, but it's somebody I didn't want to date. I guess I was afraid he'd ask me to go out again. I don't know. Oh yeah, I like to just, well, with Daddy, we would just get out and ride around and ride horses together. Like with him, I'd love to ride horses together. And with Mother, it was just, we would just like help cook a meal for the family or go to my grandparents. Mother didn't, she didn't like do any kind of, anything that was fun, like get out and ride a horse or nothing. I can't think of. Well, on Sunday afternoons we would walk over to the neighbor's house and visit and things like that with Mother. Daddy used to cook a groundhog, and we'd eat squirrel. I think I maybe tried squirrel, but I never would eat rabbit. And I know people have cooked possum, but I've never eaten one. I didn't even eat the groundhog. Daddy liked that. There's been lots of funny things. Like, I don't know, when I was growing up, I had real close teenage friends, and we were always doing something crazy, acting silly, I guess would be funny. Just normal things at times would be funny. But I don't know, Nathalie was my close friend, and eventually she was my aunt. But we would do some of the silliest things, and we'd go square dancing and all that stuff together. I guess we had more fun than any other teenage girls that I had. Well, I did go square dancing when I was teenage. We did that after we got older. I'd say get up, go to work, and just take one day at a time. You can sit there and cry forever, and it won't get no better. Life has to go on. I've been to the place that I thought that there would be no comeback, and I might have not done as well as I did if I hadn't had Diane and Darlene, and I had to live to get over it for them. I would say your life is what you make it, and you need to get the base right now. And whatever you want to do, you can do. So stick with school and study, and know that one day it's going to pay off. I would say that you have to have faith in God and do what He has told you to do if you ever have any success in this life and the life after. Oh, you don't want me to tell that.
That's a story we do want to hear.
I never hit anybody in my life except my neighbor next door when Diane was about 4 or 5 years old. And I told her kids were 12, and 10, 12, 13, and Diane was sitting in our driveway playing with rocks and or dirt, gravel, and they were coming around the back of the house throwing rocks at Diane and running, and so finally Diane kept coming in and crying, and I went out. I went over to the mother was sitting in the yard holding a baby. They had four or five children, and I went over there and I said, "Your children are throwing rocks at Diane, and she's sitting in my driveway." And she said, "Oh, I know what kind of thing she is." I said, "Sit that baby down." She wouldn't sit her down, so I reached over and got her by the neck, and when I did that, she set the baby down, and she got up. And when she got up, I just plopped her on the ground, sat down on her, and I choked her till she kept saying, let's get up, stop, the kids are scared." And I said, "No." And so she said, I'm sorry, let's get up. And I started to let her up, and when I let her get up, she grabbed at me, and when she did, I grabbed her thumb and pulled it back. I guess I broke it because she went to the doctor to come back with a bandage on it. And I didn't get a scratch. I made pictures all the time. And I would go from one thing to the other. I made clothes, sewed, I smocked and crocheted and embroidered, did my genealogy. A perfect day looks like about 70, 72 degrees, sun shining, no clouds in the sky, everything, birds singing, leaves all green and flowers blooming. That anybody in the family is doing, I like to go with them and do it. And not necessarily going out to eat or getting together and having a cookout and going to watch 100 band practices and softball games and going to basketball games and watching Arlene cheerleading and watch Jennifer play softball in freezing weather. Chris playing the tuba. What'd you play? Playing the tuba in the rain. It was all that was just fun. I enjoyed going back to the country to see Mother and Daddy, and the kids all loved it up there. Fried chicken is one of them, and fried corn and cornbread and tomatoes. Stick to your budget. Don't spend anything that you don't have to. Don't go look for something unless you need it. Buy what you need and put all you can back so you can have enough to pay your bills. And if you have any money, put it in savings. Try to pay cash for everything. Someone that I looked up to get me and my kids through, I just trusted in God. I didn't have any person that I depended on. No. Well, except just growing up, my mother and my aunts and grandmother, but I really didn't. I didn't depend on anybody to tell me what I should do, you know. I just did, I did what I thought was right. Oh, it was difficult. I don't, I don't know that I'm saying I wasn't treated as well as, it was like every other woman at the time. They didn't make as much money as men did, but I wasn't treated different because I was a woman, I don't think. Well, I would, if it's bad enough, you could maybe go to a counselor, but I found out that talking to a real good friend who does is just about as much good as a counselor does. And I had a friend at work that was so depressed, and she kept saying, "Oh, I think need to go to a counselor." I said, "Look, talk to me if you just need to talk to somebody." So she did. She worked through the problem. She was trying to get over her daddy dying and her mother was sick. And she worked through the problem without going to a counselor. Get up and do something. Or if you want to, go somewhere. Do something you enjoy, like just, I used to have a bad day and I just get in the car and go to the mall and wander around all day, and I might not all day, but a while, I might not find the thing I wanted, and I might find some bargains. I mean, I just get out of the house and do something. Go out in the yard and dig or plant something. That it's heartbreaking and it's something you don't ever get over, but you have to go on. You have to live. Life has to go on. And they wouldn't want you to stop your life because they're gone. Well, I would just think back to the good times when I was here, and what I do when I get to thinking about I think about my brothers and my mother and daddy. I even think a lot about my aunts, but I always just try to think of good things about them. You know, something we did that was fun. I used to have lots of fun with my Aunt Bobby. And I think about her a lot. But I don't still grieve her. But I think about her a lot. And my grandmother dying when I was 7 years old I've always thought about her when I go down the road. I see wildflowers blooming in June, and there was some lady that lived next to her brought her flowers to the. I just have good memories like that. I try to think about the good ones instead of the bad ones. Don't cry for me. I mean, I've already lived my life, and I don't want people grieving after I'm gone. I just don't cry. Just say I hope she's in a better place. Oh, well, one of them was, like you said, Gonzola and Chromosome 10. And there's lots of others. I mean, I can't think of all of them down. One of them was, I can't think now. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like to see my little sister Carol and Junior probably first. Carol just seemed like I had her such a short time. I know she's going to be there, but I'd like to see her and Junior. I'd like to see all of them. It's okay. I just don't want it to look, corny, and I'll probably think of 100 funny things after, so, later. Well, I know there's things that I can think of, like times that I was just worried about one of them and that I was upset with them for a short time, but mostly when they were growing up, they were good girls, both of them. Darlene has just always been the takeover kind, and I guess she's just more like me. She just goes on and does. Diane wants to do what she can, and Diane's special in her own way, and Darlene's special in her own way. Of course, I mean, when I thought I wasn't ever going to have children and had Diane, then I was just, carried away with it. But in the same way, it was just another different feeling when I had Darlene, on it. I thought, oh, I have done this by myself, And Gerald, we didn't talk about him much. He was born after I got married, but he was a character. I loved him to death. Carrie and Chris, probably. They like to pick at me more than Jennifer don't. She don't remind me that I'm saying a word wrong like they do. But Chris and Carrie will be telling the stories. Diane will be real emotional all during this. Darlene, of course, will be emotional, but she doesn't cry as much as Diane does. But don't put anything in there that sounds like it just hurts the other one's feelings, because I love both of them the same. And like I said, I'm just always, I guess the incident with Jewel caused me to be protective of Diane. I started out with it. Seemed like everybody was just, just made a big thing of it. And I guess I've just always been protective. And another reason I'm protective of her, she don't take her part. Like Darlene, you don't have to protect her. She's gonna take care of herself. And Carrie is sort of, I'm more protective of Carrie, I guess, than I would be the other two. But because she don't stand up for herself either. Jennifer, she's just my little jewel. She always said, me and Mimi are so close. Of course, it's because she was the first one, And I was just thrilled to death when she was born. I was thrilled with all of them, but she was the first one, first experience of being a grandmother. I was the first grandchild on my daddy's side. My other grandmother already had that grandmother, Mammy Ganlon. I was kind of special. Did stuff with my other grandmother, Mammy Bogle, already had a bunch of grandkids, so I don't think she was so surprised to have another one. Well, when I was growing up, my parents loved me, and I knew they did, but they didn't say I love you all the time. It was just a different time then. People weren't affectionate like they are now. They didn't express their feelings and stuff like we do now. When I was growing up, we didn't tell each other we loved them and stuff like that. But you do the did. Oh, I don't, all day I'm just piddling around here doing, little things, a little house cleaning, I sit out now, watch TV at night. And I tape a couple of shows during the day that I record. But no, I don't just sit here. I'll sit here a while and watch something. Then I get up, go in the kitchen. Sometimes I just go in the kitchen and stand there at the sink and look out the window because I need to get up and not sit down. As a matter of fact, I've been sitting here too long.
You want to help you up?
No, I got it. I'm, you know, I got the thing pre-op, or that pre-op thing to do before you. One of the things is practice getting up like this. I told Arlene, I said, I don't really have to practice that. I've been doing that for a while. Oh, I guess one of the funny things is, I don't know if I told y'all about that or not. Me and Darlene went shopping for some pajamas because I thought I was going to go to rehab, and I'm not really going to rehab, but we got she brought them in and laid them in there on the bed, and I went in there and later on I went in there and laid them on the bed, and I saw them laying there, and I took them out, and we'd thought, I don't know if the pajama bottoms fit or not, the tops did, so I tried one of the bottoms on, and I went on then and folded all of them up, and I was going to put them in the drawer. And when I got through folding everything up, I didn't have nothing but the top on the gray pajamas. And I looked and I couldn't find them, and I called Darlene, and I said, Darlene, she didn't put the bottoms of my pajamas in. And she said, oh, Mama, I called her. She said, she called me back, and she said she didn't see any pajamas laying there anywhere. She said she'll call me back. I called her back, and I went on and I went through the house, and I come back and looked in the bathroom, and my pants I had on was in the bathroom. I looked down and I had the pajama bottoms on. And Darlene hollered and laughed at that. And then she called Diane, and Diane calls and says, Mama, what about your PJs? It's always funny stuff happens like that. "58 years. Well, it will be 58 years in April. No, it was white shingles. And then the kitchen, I used to be a door in the kitchen, and I had it closed up. And the kitchen cabinets and all that stuff. I did all that in 2000 after I retired. Had new windows and doors put in. And I had this siding put on about when Chris was little. And then I've painted every inch of it. I've been on top of it and everywhere else. Painted all the inside of it myself. Now, last time it was painted, I did have somebody paint it, but I used to paint it all the time myself. Oh, Darlene, some guy that Darlene worked with made these gold nugget earrings, and she got me a pair too. And she had a pair like them, so after several years, I guess I've had them all of 30 years close to. And I lost one of mine. And she said, well, Mama, I don't ever wear mine anyway. I'll give you mine. So she gave me hers. And then a few years ago, I lost the other one. So now I only have two. I don't have a spare. Oh, they all pick out I have things that are dated back to 1920, and like a old rocking chair that my great-granddaddy made for my grandmother, and Darlene wants it, and he died in 1915, so it is at least over 105 years old. And then I have glass things that from my grandmother, and all of them go around writing their name on some of them. And on pictures that I made, they write their names on them, but that they want. Several things I've got's got somebody's name on it. Oh, the great-grandkids, they're such a joy. And it's funny things about all of them. Christopher's always just sweet, and I love you, Mamie. And I can't think of anything funny right now. What happened to Chris?
How about when we clean out his ears on the couch and he shakes?
Yeah, sometimes his dad cleans out his ears and he's always shaking like he thinks he's going to hurt. And, if anybody puts their hand on his back, he jumps and shakes.
He's ticklish.
He's real ticklish. And then she's a sweetheart. She's always, well, Mimi, can I help you? I love you, Mimi. Can I help you? Can I help you do that? She wants to help. And Gia, she comes up to me and draws a picture of me, and she tells me, "That's me and you. That's you with me, Mimi. I made you curly hair." She's so sweet. And Vince, he wants to take care of me all the time. One day he was over here and I had on some pink socks. And he said, turn around, and he said, "Mimi, can I ask you a question?" I said, "Okay, what do you want to ask me?" "Well, why do old women wear pink socks?" and Emerson, she comes to see me. She's sweet. I love her. And she comes to me and whispers, "Mimi, which one is the sugar?" She loves sugar, so I said the large one. But then when she left, I found she got sugar on the cabinet, which is all right.
Anything else before we wrap this whole deal up?
I don't know. I can't think.
I know they'll never be able to have enough Mimi, you know?
They started calling me Mimi because Jennifer was calling me Mimi, and we didn't know what she was calling me. And one day she was saying Mimi, and I wasn't answering her, I guess, and she stomped her foot and she said, "Mimi!" So from now on, I've been Mimi. And we had talked about what you want her to call you, and I didn't really have any name that I wanted her to call me. So we went with Mimi.
You like being called Mimi?
Yeah, I do. I like it. I had not known anybody that was Mimi. I'm sure there was a lot of people called Mimi, but not anybody that I knew good in the family had been called Mimi, so it was fine. And then when the great-grandchildren came along, they called Mother Meemaw. So when Mother finally decided on a name that she wanted the grandchildren to call her, she wanted them to call her Mother. And Diane Darlene did call her Mother, but the other grandchildren called her Grandmother. Yeah, 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in green pastures. I get lost. I can say the whole thing if I'm thinking about it. Can you back that out and start over?
Yeah, we'll start over.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in green pastures. He restoreth my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. He prepares a table before. He prepares me a table in front of my enemies. He anoints my head with oil. My cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I dwell in the house of the Lord forever. I memorized that before. My grandmother that died when I was 7, and my aunt Bobby taught me that I memorized it before I went to school. And as you know, I know it said thou, and it was the King James versions I remember memorized it by, so I still get messed up if I don't say King James. I tried to do it NIV, but then I lose my train of thought when I start changing the word, how it goes. So I think anything you memorize to begin with, it sticks with you. Or oh yeah, if everybody wanted me to, I'm happy to do it. I don't want anybody to grieve. Just think I had a good life, even though it was hard. I always seemed to be climbing a hill, but I always made it. So just don't worry. Just don't be sad and grieve when I'm gone. I love everybody. Everybody be good and take care of yourself. I love you. I guess my greatest accomplishment was being a mother, daddy, and paying all the bills, working 2 jobs part of the time, and managed to do all the things that you need to do with teenagers, and ended up having a good children, good grandchildren, and great grandchildren. Oh, that was sort of a nightmare. I kept thinking, oh my goodness, these little kids are not going to have. By this time, I was a little bit worried about how things were going in the world, and then I think, I hope they have a good life, Yeah, there is a different feeling. I love all my children, and Diane and Darlene the same, but there's a different love for each one. Like you'll have a protective love, and then you'll have a sort of with Diane it's sort of a protective love, and with Darlene it's sort of a different. She's somebody that depends. Well, they both depend on me and know that I'll do everything I can. But then Darlene, I can depend on her just to take over, and Diane will do anything she can. But there's a difference in. I don't know what the difference is, and the grandchildren are the same way. There's a different love. It's the same thing, only it's a lot deeper love, Oh, I don't know. I just feel that I'm going to leave people that are going to remember me and my legacy. It's just like with genealogy. I hope that they, are interested in knowing where they came from and who I was and everything. I got a book this thick. That's part of my whole accomplishment. I worked on genealogy for years. I went back to trace some of them all the way back to England and Ireland. I've got one seventh great, and another 6th great. I've got all of them way back past when they got into America. The first ones that came to Tennessee were 1790. A dream car? Well, the one I've got now, but the one I've got now is the first new car I ever had. I guess that would be my dream car. Oh yes, I wanted to go to Ireland, but I never got to. Or never did. Could have, I guess. I just never did, And Mama would say she'd go with me, but we never did do it. going on those bus tours, I guess and growing up, I was sort of just like take care of her. She was the first girl. I had all boys before that, and I was tickled to death because I had a sister, and I did a lot of stuff with her. Well, I don't have favorites, but I got a special love for Darlene. She's my rock. Oh, I don't know how many, but I did know how many, but I've been to California and Washington, Oregon, Nevada. I guess when we went to Canada, was the farthest I'd been. Diane is my favorite, but Darlene is a favorite in the same different way, maybe. I guess I don't know that either one made me laugh. I used to laugh at all of them all the time. Really, I don't know. We used to, me and Jennifer, Chris and Jennifer and Carrie, we'd be out in the car. We'd just get talking and go laughing and carrying on, and then I just get tickled at that. I can't remember, just right offhand who I got. I don't think it was any different one that made me laugh more. I enjoyed taking the kids to church. I used to dress all three of them. I made all their clothes. Oh, yeah. I made a lot for Chris when he was little. But I would dress all three of them up and take them to church on Sunday. Sometimes they would all three be here. And I enjoyed all that stuff. What I look forward to now is just I don't plan ahead a whole lot because I know that I don't feel like doing much. But I just love to live in peace and everything be quiet and everybody get along and the rest of my life. I'd love to be able to go back and get off all this pain away and go back to church and get to be church ready. I've gone to church all my life and I just miss going and I want to do what I'm supposed to do. I can remember when I was a little girl, we used to walk like 2 or 3 miles to church. We lived out in the country. We'd walk to church on Sunday morning. We didn't go at night, of course. But and I remember my grandparents would come to church in a buggy, driving a buggy. And my other granddaddy would ride a horse to church. And that was about 4 or 5 miles. He'd ride a horse to church. But by that time, we lived in about 1.5 miles of church. And we walked to church all the time. Oh, I was 7th or 8th grade. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. No, I didn't have electricity till I was junior or senior in high school. Didn't have water. We had to carry water from the spring, which is like a couple of blocks behind the house. We had to carry water, but after I graduated and left home, they did pipe the water down to the house. But we moved there when about 1939, I think we moved there, and we lived there until after my daddy died. He died in '85. It was at first. It was one big room and like 16 by 16, then a smaller room on the back of it. It was about as long. Oh, it was maybe 10 foot wide and as long as the others are 16. And then later on, they built another room the same size and a room behind it. Hey, Chris, Jennifer, and Cameron, you remember the time that we tried to raise a little kitten because his mama got run over, and I'm not very fond of cats, but I was out there helping you feed it with a doll bottle, and it lived, I think. Oh, I was Milo's first grade teacher. Well, I was teaching when she was in first grade, and she always says that I told her she could read a whole book in class. If she learned the book, she could read the whole book in class. But I didn't know she was going to try to read as much as she was, and I had four grades, so I couldn't let her read it. And she really got mad at me, and she was going to go home. So I had to go out and bring her back in and make her stay in school. Oh, I've had lots of funny times with Darlene. We just seem to just get out and do anything and have a lot of fun. And I went to Arizona, and we went to Grand Canyon, and went to Florida several times. We went to a lot of sites in Florida, and we just used to every time we'd go, we'd end up doing some kind of project together. Me and Diane usually, she always goes along and does anything I want to do. It helps me with things. And we went to Johnson City several times, and always enjoyed that. I don't think I ever went on any other vacations with her. Oh, I did go. We did go on vacation when they were growing up. We went to Gatlinburg, and they had lots of fun. We stayed in a motel, and they swam, and then we drove over the mountain and back through Cleveland and came home, and we went to Chattanooga and went up on the mountain. No, they took friends with them, and we all had a good time. I went to all the ball games, and Darlene was cheerleading, and I was there. I enjoyed the basketball games. I went to I went to everything they had at school, all the events at school, and I always enjoyed that. And I think I knew they wanted me to go, so I did go, and I enjoyed it. It's Charity Pride. Charity pickup. They call half a dozen times every week.